don't think I want to have that because... Hang on. Phone. No, why don't you find that? Please find that. Call. No. No, where is it? Where is it? Right. No. Ah, that's it. Keys 4 is what I'm after. Keys 4. Numbers! Stop it! Keys 4, okay.
Okay. I parked up in the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly in the living room, nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
Fairly sure it was... Well, maybe it was on Sunday. Or was it that evening? No, I think it is this day. I think it was because she... Yeah. Hannah wakes up. Simon still not there. My thought is, and I'm not entirely sure I'm gonna do another session of this, because I think I've done an awful lot, and I've got the whole. You've got all of the 50% of these. Quite a few of them have been kind of random, pointless ones. Fingerprints, and I've got the little pop-up saying, "Do you think you've got it?" I think it's something to do with this one. The main door was unlocked. That tells me someone without the key, or didn't know which key it was there. I was somehow involved. Right, Eve goes back to the house with Simon. Something happens. That's the issue. I don't know where Simon died. And that is so much... I think that's fairly crucial. Because part of me is wondering, did they go back... Did Eve go north with him, heading to Glasgow, and then something happens, she has the hit, she's suddenly worried for the baby, and then she suddenly has this kind of hang on. I've got to go back. Eric calls. And then she comes back. Maybe the body in the boot? No, the boot is not been back. I don't know. Hello. Just randomly thinking random words. Back for 4. It's probably not useful. Back seat. I probably should look at.
He has a wallet, a huge silly thing, leather, real leather, I think. He packs it full of stuff, business cards, receipts, lottery tickets. He always carries it in his back pocket. I think that's why he's got a bag back. He sets the discs. I haven't seen it, so he must have it on him. He always takes it out of his back pocket before when he comes in, if he's in the house.
Right, if Simon in house takes it. back seat. I was hoping there'd be something there. I was wondering if, like, maybe she'd taken the body and brought it down. But I don't think that makes a huge amount of sense. So I assume he was killed locally. But it's whether she drives him back, then kills him. Right, was it throat? I keep forgetting. Throat. Surprised I haven't looked at these ones. Throat 2.
On his throat. How?
Let's see what she says for the other one then.
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead.
Right. So 3. So Simon was dead by 3. I assume by 3 AM he's dead. She comes in and sees he's dead. Oh, right, I see. Now, assuming everything is correct. There we go. Still, I'm not sure about that one. So, based on this rearrangement, he doesn't have the argument straight away. He walks in and sees Simon is dead. That's what I seem to think is happening with the fact she's talking about 3. I don't think she's 3 here, because she's left. This is when she calls. She goes up on the Saturday. This is the phone call that Hannah heard in the shower, I would suspect. Because you're not going to actually refer, you must have missed me before. You're not going to assume it's someone else calling you. So Eric calls here. He's not this phone call. This is Eve trying to call Hannah. So she leaves. So if she spots him by 3, we know they have the argument at 8. So it must be 3 AM based on this logic. It does seem to fit the original thing that Hannah did actually kill him. That fits now. It's just kind of rearranging it and actually realising that it didn't happen straight away. I think this is what happened. So Hannah screams, they start an argument. Simon leaves. Hannah calls... Ooh, hang on. So Hannah calls... I was thinking here, so that's why Simon leaves. He, however, goes to the pub, to the Rock, talks to Helen and Eve, maybe the drinking buddies. I'm still not sure about this. This one, I don't think that makes sense, actually, assuming this is the truth. Simon hits Hannah, and Hannah grabs the piece of mirror to attack back, killing Simon. Is this what she says?
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back.
Oh.
She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present.
Okay, right.
She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
Right, yeah, some of these were just random thoughts. Actually, yeah, okay, actually, yeah. Let me give you a unique to Hannah. Something happens, they have an argument. They have argument. About Eve? Question mark? Okay, yeah. So Hannah brings up Eve. Argument starts. Yeah. So I'm still not sure if it has to be Helen. We'll close that because that's now no longer in the thought. Simon gave the same unique mirror to Eve, which is Hannah dressed up. Yeah. Hannah screams. Argument starts up. Starts again. Simon then hits Hannah. Hannah grabs. So Simon did visit the rock. Calls Eve that she's thrown Simon out and wants her sister back. Oh no. So I assume then, because that was based on something that was completely wrong. Here. That happens here. Eve comes, sees Simon's dead by 3 AM. She leaves, storming out. So Eve gets in the car and heads north, until he reaches Glasgow and gets to Glasgow. Eve stops in Glasgow. No, you don't sleep yet. Eve hits a taxi in Glasgow. There we go. Goes to the hospital, concerned for the baby. Eve wakes, tries to call Hannah, but there's no response because she's in the shower. And then decides to head back because she thinks Hannah's more important than Simon. Simon doesn't attend the job with Eric, so Eric calls. Hannah calls Simon's parents to check where he is. They've not heard from him. Hannah wakes up the next day. Simon's still not there, so she informs the police. Before the 27th of June, Hannah finds the dead body, because that's when that was. Yeah. And then later on, Hannah becomes the suspect, and they find out about Eve. Yeah, I think, okay. So, thinking about it, I think doing this has been really helpful, actually. I was in the right place. I was right that it was all this, that Hannah had done it in defense. I assume Eve had stormed out because she thought, that Hannah shouldn't have done it, that it was important to keep Simon around, but the other option, of course, is that Eve is throwing Hannah under the bus, but we haven't got any other further thoughts on this. What if we search for Hannah? Nothing useful. 18. Hannah. Eve. Hello.
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom and seconds later out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed.
Yeah, parents didn't realise. Yeah, so I think it goes back to, I don't know, I still think she killed the parents. I'm wondering how they didn't notice that. I don't know. There's so many different questions I've got now, but I think the principal question that we've come here to answer, or we started trying to answer, was what happened. I think this is a fairly good, at least a good attempt at what's happened. I'm sure people will comment saying, "Oh, you missed this thing and you missed that thing," and there's probably like loads of these left. I'd love it if you said how many you had left to go, how many you'd gotten out of all of them. What if I do Hannah and Simon? They're all there. Ooh, Hannah, Simon. Parents? That's probably not great. What about Hannah and parents? No. Okay, Eve parents? No. So yeah, I think that's probably... this is actually where I'm going to call it. I mean, there's so much more I can dig into, but this is actually longer than I was expecting, not just for this session, but for this Let's Play. I was thinking of going on to something else after the last session, but I think just firming this up in my mind is, I feel a lot better with this, kind of ending a Let's Play on a, I'm fairly sure it happened, rather than a, what? I'm still kind of confused as to what Eve did, though. Maybe it's the storming out, but then ultimately coming back to live with someone who killed your dad as a character. I think that's probably what it is. I don't know. Or why she hid for so long. I don't know. But I think what we'll do is... yeah. So I think we will call it there this time. Well, I'd say for definite. Someone might pop up and say, "Have you thought about this?" And it might suddenly make me rethink this entire list. But yes, I think we've kind of firmed up vague things. But yeah, I think this is kind of a very firm thing. Yeah, this has been really fun. Even coming back and kind of going over these things again. I'm not sure I like the fact that there's so many things that are completely unrelated to anything. Fingerprints? I guess they kind of went through like a procedural, proper, kind of almost like a proper interview that was scripted out, and then they trimmed out the detective bits and then built it up from that, kept all these things in, but I'm not sure they worked. I mean, that's just my view. I'm sure there's people who like the idea of trying to kind of find everything, but I'd rather just be able to plod through this and know that a lot of these are going to be relevant. Because without the questions, that really weakens how much deduction you can do. I mean, there's a lot of things here where it's kind of, I think this is the question, or the straight up answers are like, answers don't give you a lot of things. Like, I think, what was the thing? One of the fingerprints ones. Oh, there were fingerprints on that and on the sheets. So it's like, well, I don't know what those first things were. Fingerprints on sheets and other places. Well, the other places are referred to in the question. It's not helpful. I don't know. But I assume those fingerprints don't match Hannah or Simon, which is why they're asking, so therefore Eve is important. I don't know. Right, so yeah, I'm doing a bit more now, kind of analysis. Yeah, I've kind of enjoyed this. If there were another game like this, I'd happily play it, where you're trying to kind of piece things together and work things out from Relatively little in some cases, and you're just kind of getting more information, and it builds up. Yeah, so I've enjoyed it. I mean, looking at some comments, quite a few people have commented that this is a very interesting way of doing it, having kind of this page over here where you're seeing kind of the notes I'm making and the thoughts I'm having, and it's not just me muttering to myself and making notes on a piece of paper. You're kind of seeing this. I mean, this could be really good actually. If I stream a game like this, I could have the game over here, and I can have the notes that myself in the chat would be working on. That's something to think about. I keep thinking of streaming. I keep thinking of doing a lot of things, and never get round to them. We'll see. Right, there we go. So yeah, this has been really fun, just kind of coming back to it and having another crack at figuring out exactly what happened. Thank you to, I've already forgotten your name, I apologise, you posted this suggestion today, which kind of made me want to come back and have another look, was to post the timeline. I will probably look and kind of have it flash up on screen now. There you go, future me, I've given you some editing work. So yes, kind of thanks for joining me on a kind of return to her story. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.